Alright, so welcome back guys, welcome to your first time here. I'm Vision here of Blind Entertainment, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm going over the 7 synopsises and titles for the first half of Fear the Walking Dead Season 6. Now, if The Walking Dead is something you're interested in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. Don't miss some more Walking Dead content from me moving forward. Now let's begin. Now, first up, we got episode 1, titled The End is the Beginning. Now, the synopsis for this episode reads, mortally wounded, Morgan must decide whether or not to help a desperate stranger, while mysterious bounty hunter tries to finish what Ginny couldn't. Now, this is very interesting. I'm very excited to see what goes on here. Now, this is going to be, I'm assuming, a Morgan-centric episode. I'm assuming for the most half, we know that this is going to be the first half at least, going to be sport episodes. The second half, I'm going to assume most likely will due to the current pandemic. But this is very interesting. I'm interested to see about this bounty hunter. He looks pretty cool in the trailer, and I'm curious to see what goes on here with him. I love Morgan's new look. He's going back and reminds me one of his comic counterpart, but also he reminded me of old Morgan from back early on in the seasons. It looks like he's going all clear mode, and I'm curious to see what happens once he runs into this mysterious stranger after everything he's been through, and after his previous run-in with people and helping them, and now after everything that's happened in regards to Ginny. So I'm very interested to see what goes on there, and definitely super hyped for the premiere. Next up, we got episode 2, titled Welcome to the Club. Now, the synopsis for this episode reads, Virginia forces Alicia and Strand to clear an unusual Walker threat. Now, this is very interesting. Now, we know Strand kind of made a deal, and I'm assuming has a plan to get out from underneath Virginia's rule. Now, I'm very curious to see what this unusual Walker threat is. I always like it when they change things up and add into some different type of Walker threats and different types of Walkers. So I'm very interested and excited for that. This, again, is most likely going to be Strand, Alicia, and I think Charlie is going to be in this episode too, because in a future episode it sounds like Charlie's with them. So I'm assuming it's going to have her in there as well. And I'm assuming we're going to get a little bit more from Alicia. I'm assuming we're going to tap more into her psychic and what's going on with her mind. So that's very interesting. I'm very excited for this one, especially seeing the two original characters back together, and Charlie. Definitely super hyped to see what goes on here. And a lot of this will probably also be Virginia and getting to learn more about her backstory, and like her idea behind ruling and everything like that. So that's something I'm very hyped for as well, and this definitely looks like it'll be a cool and interesting episode. Next up, we got episode 3, titled Alaska. Now, the synopsis for this episode reads, Al and Dwight go rogue on a mission to follow one last lead. Now, this is going to be a very interesting episode, especially since these two characters haven't had any screen time together, unless I missed something. Now, I am a bit tired of this whole camera thing, so I hope it ends soon, and I feel like Dwight is one of those characters that can be like, enough with the whole camera shit, so I really hope that kind of happens here. Now, again, I'm assuming that there is some kind of lead, or Virginia hears something on the radio or something, and she sends these two out to check it out, or something like that. I don't know. I'm very curious to see why they go out on this mission. Does Al go rogue and she's the one who goes out without Virginia's permission and unless Dwight's help? Maybe Dwight thinks he hears Sherry or something, or something. Maybe, I don't know. It's definitely one I think that could be a very cool and interesting episode, especially if Sherry's involved. And again, I just really hope that this is kind of the end of the whole camera stuff, just because for me personally, I've kind of gotten sick and tired of it, and I think a lot of other fans has done that for as well. Next up, we got episode 4, titled The Key. Now, the synopsis for this episode reads, John secretly investigates a death that is written off as an accident. Now, this is one I'm super hyped for, just due to the fact that John's background includes being a cop. So this is something I'm very hyped for. I love John. He's one of my favorite characters, and I'm very curious to see what the death was. Is it Walker related? Did Virginia have one of her people killed because there was something going on there? And I'm very curious to see how John reacts to this. See John like in what he used to do prior to the apocalypse. It's very interesting. I'm very excited. Is Virginia killing people off in secret, or is this a member of the community that Virginia asked him to look into? I'm very curious to see what goes on here. And I feel like it most likely is Virginia, and I feel like this has given us more insight to Virginia's inner workings and showing us more of a darker side with each of these episodes. Next up, we got episode 5, titled Honey. Now, the synopsis for this episode reads, Dwight and Sherry want to take down Ginny, but Morgan stands in their way. Now, this is very interesting. I'm kind of annoyed about this synopsis because it pretty much gives away that they're reunited in this episode or by this episode. So that's something I'm kind of annoyed about. I like the title though because it is a callback to how, you know, Dwight kind of always calls Sherry honey, so I like that. I know I'm curious to see if this is the one they're reunited in. I always thought that they'd be reunited, or Morgan would meet Sherry in the premiere because she's the one who rescues him. I'm kind of less thinking that now. Maybe she's in one of the settlements and Dwight finds her there. I don't know. I'm very curious to see how they get reunited eventually. But I am very excited for this one, just given Dwight and Sherry being back together. And I'm really hoping this whole Morgan standing in their way isn't about all the whole peace stuff. I hope it's more he has a better idea and more of like a bide your time and eventually we'll be able to take her out. Something like that. I really hope it's not just him being like, oh, just, we have to find a way to work with her. I hope it's something different. I mean, maybe Dwight and Sherry have this like plan that Morgan thinks will not work. I don't know. I'm very curious to see what goes on here. And again, just hope it's not part of the whole we gotta save people and we gotta give people another chance. That just is something, given how they've been talking about how the old Morgan is dead and whatnot. I really hope that by this point they just don't go back to the old Morgan. I really hope they stick with the past Morgan is gone and he's now someone different now. I just hope they stay with that kind of mode for this season, or at least this half at least. Next up, we got episode 6 titled Bury Her Next to Jasper's Leg. Now the synopsis for this episode reads, an explosion puts June and Virginia on a collision course with each other. Now, this is very interesting. Now, I feel like we all know that June, or at least I think June is probably going to be the most rebellious of them all and fight back against Virginia more than the rest of our people. And this one, I feel like they're probably gonna be out on a run or something, and that this is gonna be a point where June confronts Virginia, or like something big is revealed about Virginia, and they kind of get into an argument or something. Maybe like you got June who's against her for a while, fights back and rebellious, but maybe it's something where you got Virginia who kind of shows her the light or something, and June maybe joins her or something like that. I'm very curious to see what goes on here. I do feel like June's one of those characters, well, yes, I do think she'll be rebellious, but she also can be a survivor and knows how to play the game in order to, pass time, like a lot of these other characters I've said. But I'm very curious and excited to see what goes on here. This is one of those episodes that I feel like is going to be kind of in between of good and possibly poor. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of June. It depends on what they do with her in this episode, and I'm very excited, though, to see what goes on with these two characters. Next up, we got episode 7, titled Damage from the Inside. Now, the synopsis for this episode reads, Strand sends Alicia and Charlie on a mission to look for Dakota. Now, Dakota is Virginia's sister. If you missed that part, she's one of the new characters this season. And this is very interesting. Damage from the Inside is a very interesting title as well, because if you remember at the end of last season, that's what Strand told Alicia, that by going with them, they're going to do some damage from the inside. Now, I got two theories here. Either you got Strand who sent, someone maybe to take Dakota out, and then they're supposed to go find her, and this is like a mission where he sends them while he does something to try to undermine or take out Virginia. That's something that I'm predicting there. Or my other prediction is that one of the people who are from our group, or a rebel or something like that, kidnap Dakota and asking for ransom, something like that. I'm not totally sure what this could be. Maybe the people in the Jason masks kidnapped Dakota for ransom. I don't know. This is very interesting. This is the penultimate episode. We don't know episode 8 because they haven't filmed it, or didn't get to filming it until like just recently. So we don't know much about that or the rest of the episodes for the season. But definitely so far, this looks like a very cool and interesting episode. I know a lot of fans are a little nervous about these split episodes. I feel like they're doing it for a few reasons. One, they just probably need to filming issues a lot with the actresses and actors. That's one thing. And two, I do believe this is kind of necessary to help bring up and show how Virginia treats her people, how the inner workings of her community go. Because remember, she has multiple different communities, like she said. So, and not every community is going to be the same way. So we're going to have to see how each one works and what Virginia's, role within each community is. So I feel like our characters are going to be divided up so we can see these different communities, and that's one helpful for understanding Virginia and understanding our characters, and to see what goes on and how they work together in these different groups and by their times as they move forward and try to get out from underneath Virginia's rule. But definitely excited for these episodes. Certain ones sound and look a little better than others, but definitely something I'm excited for and interested to see once the season starts this weekend. So yeah, guys, those are my thoughts and opinions regarding the upcoming Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 episodes 1 through 7 titles and synopsises. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and share. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. That would miss more Walking Dead content from me moving forward. And you can go follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which I linked in the about section on my YouTube channel. As always, it's been Vision here with Blind Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.